Welcome back, everyone, to the VR League, brought to you by Intel, live here in our ESL Cologne studios. I'm Jason Kaplan, joined by the handsome, the lovely, the terrible sports referencing maker of Blue, as he slam dunked that from the desk. We do have a treat of a match coming your way. I'm so sorry. I'll stop now.
It's all good.
We have a treat of a match coming your way. It's going to be Ec.Lip.Se, the team we saw decimate everyone they've played so far. I don't think they've actually dropped too many points. I think 15 their last match against Omega Tours. I really want to call them Omegators. And they'll be playing against 11.5, the only team to make it through into the stage of the tournament, and the only team potentially that can really challenge out against Ec.Lip.Se.
Minimerx as well, or the guys from 11.5 as well, having a pretty dominant run, as I was just looking back at their results now too. Only losing, I think it was 16 points total against the two other teams they've faced off against so far.
Close, 13. 8 and 5.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the wrong game. Okay, so
maybe I
had to double check it too.
Okay, the thing is, we tried to do math on air, and it's really simple in theory.
Yeah.
But when you have a camera and you have like a time frame, because if you struggle, people are like, why is he struggling on addition?
Does he not know how to do basic addition on it?
So it's so much extra pressure on you that you just like forced to throw out a number at some point, and most of the time you're wrong because there's a lot of other numbers.
And the funny thing is, this is a thing that like every caster from every game knows about, but for some reason like no one outside of the casting realm like realizes it. They're like, whoa, this is like this is like a really like high pressure thing you have to do on air.
We can do subtraction and addition. It's just doing it on air with pressure and having that little like 7 plus 3 is 12. So 10 points, and then you're like, how do you not know what 7 plus 3 is, right? It's difficult, but you know what? We got there in the end, and you're right. 11.5 have had a better scoreline across the board getting through into this one. But for some reason, in my heart, I'm just thinking Ec.Lip.Se. I haven't seen 11.5, so don't get me wrong. I could be completely misjudging this. But I think hands down, this is probably going to be the toughest match for both these two teams. And I think I can almost say with certainty that the loser of this match will make it back up into the grand final.
And that's going to make it very interesting, especially if this match ends up being close. Again, going back to the fact that it'll be a repeated series if we need to play that out. Because the winner of this one will have the advantage where they only need to close out on one best of 3 to win out this tournament, of course. But of course, if we end up seeing the team come in from the lower, it's always very confusing to explain for some reason. If you end up seeing the team come in from the loser bracket, take that opening best of 3, then we have to repeat it and play another best of 3 all over again. And especially if it's going to be a close matches the entire way, it's going to be very fun to see.
See, and across the many games that I've casted, I've learned to talk about a GSO bracket is really quickly, and I guarantee you can do it as well, super fast. Can you do it? Or
GSO bracket?
Yeah, like explain how it works.
Yeah, it's just like a quick double elimination bracket for the most part.
I was really hoping for more there. So I've learned to do this really quickly.
What do you say?
Okay, so there's 4 teams. Initial teams play a match against each other. The winners play the winners. The losers play the losers. The winner of the losers plays the loser of the winners, and then the winner of that match is through. Or the one of those 2 matches are through.
All right.
I had to do it so many times, like every week in and week out, that just becomes second nature. But then we get into these like Swiss systems, and I'm just like not able to ever say them correctly.
Swiss, I feel like, is easier to explain though, because Swiss is basically like each team plays each other once, and that's like the end of it.
Isn't that round robin?
That is round robin. Damn it.
Swiss is really easy to explain.
So round robin is really easy to explain.
Yeah, round robin sounds fantastic to explain, but from my understanding, Swiss is the winners play each other every time.
Yeah, that's right. Swiss is like everybody starts off playing like whoever's in their group, and then it like the winners play the winners, losers play the losers, and then it continues to evolve from that point. But it's like really hard to explain because you don't know how it will evolve until you get later on into the bracket.
I don't know why it's called Swiss though.
I would assume
because there's so many holes in it, or is it because some Swiss guy made it? But then Swiss, I
assume it was used at like a tournament in Switzerland, and then someone used it somewhere else and called it the Swiss system.
We'll look that up.
That would be my best guess.
The thing is, we could technically look it up right now because we're still waiting for a player to get in the lobby. So we do have to fill for a little bit of time. So I'm gonna look it up.
You just gonna go?
No, actually, I'm not gonna do it.
You're just walking right over there.
What we can talk about though, coming up next week, because this is the only week that we're here at the moment here in Cologne. We'll be live from, I had to say this at least one time because I made a pact with someone, from Leicester, England. You can say it correctly.
Leicester, England.
England. We'll be doing an invitational, actually. That should be extremely exciting. Everyone get to play inside the studios, get to see them in person. I would love to get the cameras on them, as you got to experience last time at the finals, how versatile and how nimble you have to be able to play this game, and you get to finally see it. If you're someone who doesn't play the game, can notice how difficult it actually is to do. It's kind of like transitioning from it's actually, I think, even more difficult from like console to mouse and keyboard or mouse and keyboard to console. But I think it's even more difficult because you have to use your entire body.
It's very much so, in my opinion, the closest thing we have had so far to a hybrid sport/esport, basically. It is very much melding the two together, and the skill that is required to play a video game and the necessities that come with that, being able to still like, use the game mechanics that are within the game, doing things like 5 or 6 man launches and the regrabs to be able to get like enough speed and momentum built up. But it's also the physicality in that you need to be able to do things like, okay, someone's going to come by me, I have to really quickly reach my arm out and grab this in like a half second or something like that. And it's those things that actually like test you physically as well, combining the skill that you need to bring into it. That makes it a really cool concept.
And the great thing for the players is that they have no threat of ever hitting a glass off their desk.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they have their own areas that are completely big enough for them to play in. And I actually wonder if this could allow people to play even better. Like for me, in my flat that I have this much room from my left to right. Wait, this way. There we go. My wingspan pretty much is where my borders come up. And then like from the front to back, it's a little bit longer than that. So if I'm swinging my arms around, there's a good chance I'm going to hit something. And there's a wall to my right. So there's a good chance I'm going to break my wrist if I hit that wall.
So I've got MMA mats in my home setup.
Really?
Yeah. So this is not so much.
How intense do you play that you need MMA mats under you in case you fall?
It's not so you fall. It's so you can fall. That's the thing. Because this isn't really for Echo Arena. This is more for like games like Onward and Pavlov. But I have those mats specifically so that I can, if I need to, in like a shooting game, so I can dive. So if like I need to quickly get behind a wall or something like that,
that's next
I can
level.
just go whoo, and then jump on the floor and not injure myself. We get rug burn every once in a while, but
what are the chances you like jump into a wall?
Pretty low, actually.
Okay.
Because of the way I have my space set up. It's very controlled. I actually have a bigger space that I could use too, because my apartment I share an apartment with a few people, and we have like a big living room that only I use. Like I'm the only one that ever uses it. So in theory, I could just turn that into like the VR space if I wanted to. I just haven't gone through with that yet.
See, I actually want to get my own, have like a room specifically for VR, and then like paint the walls green, because you see a lot of streamers, they use like the camera behind them to like really immerse themselves in the game, because that's the hardest thing for me, I think, or for people out there to realize, is how different it is playing VR versus watching it, because it's a completely different experience. And I've tried to explain it to everyone. I think like one of the best explanations I've been able to give in terms of how VR feels is, when we're standing next to each other, or like this TV behind me, you can sense its presence. You can feel that it's there, and I can see out the corner of my eye, and I can feel that it's there. When you're playing certain games, you have that same feeling, but with objects that physically are not next to you. And it's such a different experience than watching it like on a stream. Yeah,
it's a very like even in Echo Arena here, like we look at it from our sort of, I guess you could say, 2D perspective that we get on the screens as we watch the stream. And you're thinking like, oh, this is like easy. You can see people coming from a mile away and things like that. No, it's completely different in game, because these guys are basically looking through like a tube essentially into their game, and they have a much narrower point of view, so they have to be much more aware. Like I said before, they have to have their head on a swivel, watching for players sneaking up behind them.
Do most players use 4 sensors or 2? Do you know?
Usually it's 3 actually.
3, okay.
That's what I have anyway. It's a 3 sensor. Fourth sensor gets a little bit like, it's kind of like diminishing returns coming at that point of whether it's like really worth it or not. So I think most home setups will have like 2 or 3 sensors.
Okay. I only have 2, so it does get a little wonky if I completely turn around. But you kind of have to do that. And actually, I want to see people with hooks on top of their ceiling to actually grab the cable, so you never have to worry about to step on it. But to make it so you can turn easy enough, that'd be really cool. Some really advanced setups.
There's a few wireless modules out in the wild now too. I think. I don't know how good any of them are, but there's definitely a few third-party wireless modules I think out in the open for Oculus.
Well, if they want to hit me up, I'm totally for it. I would not say no to it. So I believe we are getting told now that the last player has joined or is in the process of joining the game. So luckily, we can be going into that shortly. We did have the option to go to a video, but you know what? We wanted to talk about our experience with VR, and we should be starting momentarily. Do you have a favorite game, by the way, that you enjoy playing besides obviously Echo Arena?
For VR, it would be either Beat Saber, which that's everyone's favorite game right now.
It's the best game ever.
There's 3 main games that I'm playing in VR right now. It's Beat Saber, Skyrim VR, because it's like you put mods in and stuff, so it's like the full experience.
Do you actually scream the Fusro? Like, does the mic respond?
No. I think it's just like the side buttons that does it. You have to hit both the side buttons to do it. That'd be cool. That would be cool though. I think you can mod it to do that though.
That'd be really sick.
Which I have to do still. And then Pavlov is the other game I play a lot, which is basic because I come from Counter-Strike, so just Counter-Strike in VR. So and I love it.
Yeah, I tried playing So I just have to say, I tried playing scary games on it, like for instance, like Resident Evil 7.
I won't even try that.
You know, so I was playing one of the zombie games, and it was like I can't remember the name off the top of my head for some reason, but you're kind of doing like a horde mode, so like the zombies are coming at you. And even these fake cartoon zombies would scare the crap out of me whenever they come near you. So I could never handle that game. But hey, we're all live. We're into the game. Looks like it's going to be, hopefully, an exciting one. It's going to be Ec.Lip.Se.
What was that?
Against 11.5. And Ec.Lip.Se on the blue side, I've already scored.
Simeon's doing some tricks. So you get to see him flipping the disc all around. I would love to see his motions like in real life trying to do that, because that worked perfectly.
I wish they had leg sensors so you can see like, some sick like under the leg stuff.
Yeah, that would be really cool. The problem is though is that I feel like the game could get really imbalanced, because then people would start doing like crazy stuff with their legs, trying to like kick people off and things like that.
Yeah,
so
that'd be cool.
I don't know how it would work out balance-wise, because the legs are usually like the easiest thing to grab onto when you want to slingshot off of an enemy. So
that is true. So here we go, 11.5 on the attack now. Again, the first time we're seeing them today, Ec.Lip.Se have looked so solid. And Lemmy, well, speaking of him, he went a little bit too deep there. Missed everything, and then he has to kind of hurry back by himself by pushing off these islands, or be out in the open. That was a great catch coming out of Dash to actually stop that one from being a score, and they're going to score themselves because of it.
Loveridge with another long shot to secure it as well. Dash, of course, doing most of the work in that situation, but it works out well for 11.5, as they're going to be able to immediately return the opening goal from Ec.Lip.Se, scoring a three-pointer for themselves and now taking the lead.
Wow, I mean, the thing is, like, that could have been Ec.Lip.Se's score again, because Lemmy, he specifically was sitting that far in the enemy territory for pass. But if Dash didn't catch that disc, they would have lost 3 points. They would have been down 5-0. But instead, because he does catch it, they do go up 3 themselves. Is it? I can't say his name. Is it Dashsel?
I feel like it's wait.
It's so hard to say. Dashsel.
I feel like it's Daz HXL. I almost want to say.
Das Boot? What?
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, that's almost a score right there. I think he actually just barely missed the goal there.
Kind of overshot it a little bit, as he tried to do another kind of wind-up shot there as well. But we are going to see Wit kind of slapping it back into blue team territory a little bit. That is what they do, basically.
No, I'm laughing because it's great. Honestly, I love it. Yeah. It's a great term.
And then now it's kind of open in the air right now, but 11.5 is going to pick it up. Is there actually someone here to defend it? It looks like they had players there, but Wit sunk it just in time, because he actually got stunned, for those of you that didn't catch it, right after he managed to secure the goal. I think he got out of his hand just in time, though, and it floated right in to give 11.5 not only a lead, but a secure lead now at 5-2.
See, where's all the victory dances? You know, you watch football or soccer and you see them. Like,
true.
Why is there not any of those?
I don't know. I feel like it doesn't translate that well on the VR.
Just do like the. I can't do it, and luckily I'm not on camera.
I feel like your arms in game wouldn't really do that though. Like they would just like flatten out and be like this. Like,
yeah, but I mean you can do like some, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see them get creative with it. Meantime, Ec.Lip.Se does have possession. Does go for a deep pass. It's going to be Simon, kind of by himself, but it looks like the pass didn't come his direction. It could be a big skirmish now, breaking it towards the disc. And it looks like Simon's going to actually be the one to pick it up. He goes for the shot from long range. He gets it. Ec.Lip.Se with another 3 points on the board from 17 meters away. That does tie things up.
And with that, we will be neck and neck once again. Both teams securing a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer here in reverse order for those teams. But with Ec.Lip.Se, and again, it's Simeon doing most of the heavy lifting here, securing that goal. It's going to be able to bring them right back into the game and tie us up. I think the most creative thing I've ever seen someone do is like a victory dance, was they grabbed onto my face, because you can't like stun people anymore after the round's over. So they would grab onto my face and then just do the emote. They would just do the emote and then wave at me while they were doing the emote, because you can't do anything about it. We're just gonna.
Yeah, that sounds great. At least there's some sort of creativity with the victory dance. Simon's able to get the disc there. Able to go for a somewhat clear, and it looks like Lemon's gonna be the one to pick it up. And Lemon has a free shot here. He just has to get the disc in his hand and has to go for it from downtown. He goes for the wind-up and just unfortunately dings off the rim. Looks like I have a teammate there. It's going to be Palador to pick it up and go for the pass again to Lemmy. He has a second chance. He has a second opportunity. His knees weak. His arms are heavy. Mom spaghetti. Oh, my God.
That was nice, actually. Played that off well. But it's going to be Ec.Lip.Se that secure the goal. Once again, it's another 2-pointer. It ends up being a goalie versus shooter duel to determine it. And the shooter comes out on top. Usually what you see happening there is the goalie will just kind of project himself out once it gets close enough, tries to get the set off in time. More often than not, though, usually the shooter ends up winning that engagement.
I just think you need to take over the next couple
You're just going to need me to take the wheel for a second here?
I'm the one that has jet lag apparently right now. This is 11:30 p.m. All right, so in the meantime, now 11.5, down 2 points. A little Baton again. Look, again, like the calm composed play off the quarterback when you have possession is just seeming to net teams so much more opportunities where they are able to bait in a defender to keep that man, not advantage, but to keep men equal when you come into these fights. That's another little dog pile happening here towards the disc, trying to go for the clear.
This is some nice movement from Wit, though. He did a great job. Look at him. He's doing it again. He's going to use his second hand for that the whole time, too. And he's probably not even looking at those grabs, being considering the way that he was positioned himself there against the wall. So that's just like good awareness of the map right there, considering that it's like not an actual environment. So really good stuff from Wit to be able to have that good enough movement and keep control of the disc for his team right now.
And speaking of control, it actually might open up an opportunity for Shy here. Powder is going to be the one in the goal, and he's not going to be able to block that one coming through. That's going to be leverage again. That's a 5-meter throw and does secure a tied score yet again.
So we are neck and neck, continuing to remain at that scoreline. It seems like as both teams are just trading goals back and forth now. We're a little past the halfway mark on this match, so we still have a while to go. Still really room for either team to take control of this lead, as we do not have a clear front runner here by any means.
You know, there would be a great team victory dance if they did rock, paper, scissors. Except it'd be rock, point.
Be like rock, finger, and I'm trying to think what else you could do.
Palm?
Maybe palm, yeah. I think like open hand.
Yeah, that'd be great. Actually, that'd be hilarious. They really need to get creative with this stuff. There's so much opportunity.
I think you can do more.
Things.
I think you can like. There's certain fingers you can just like bring up individually. I think you can bring the pinky up individually.
Just get individual finger sensors, and then like let's just legit do rock, paper, scissors, because that'd be the best thing
really
ever
cool.
as like a victory dance. In the meantime, though, 11.5. Trying to fight back for the disc yet again here, but Ec.Lip.Se still have it on their opponent's field. Get a little behind the back play there to keep the disc out of hands of his enemies, and leverage to try to go for the aggressive defense, but does get, unfortunately, a little bit overcommitted. Great little clear comes in, but it actually bounces off the island perfectly to put it back in the hands of Ec.Lip.Se.
Still going to be going all over the place, but for now, under the control of Ec.Lip.Se, leverage is going to try to sneak up behind Simeon, but it's cleared well before he gets a chance at it. They do have Dawes in position to go for a block, but it's going to become unnecessary as one of their teammates gets a nice clear, sends it right inside of the three-point bubble for Ec.Lip.Se, and it's going to be an easy goal as well. Ec.Lip.Se are not even close to establishing their slingshot to get back in a defensive position in time, so they'll lose it once again to 11.5, and now push ahead 9-7 over Ec.Lip.Se.
I think Wit was actually disrupting any sort of chance for them to get back in time on the defense. I think it was just constantly punishing them by punching them over and over again to not allow that daisy chaining off of each other to get back towards their own side of the field. So really, you know, that's something we don't really talk about enough, of that disruptiveness you can apply as like as a bruiser. Whenever your team does have a nice little breakaway, it's important and imperative that you're there punching, throwing your fists as wildly as you can.
A minute left again. Still plenty of chances for Ec.Lip.Se to not only take back a tie 2-pointer for themselves, but also try to take the lead away from 11.5 once again.
Score.
Here we go. They're going to go right in for it. It is a bank shot that ends up missing, though, and now we've got leverage coming in. Oh, another missed shot coming out from Ec.Lip.Se. They've whiffed 2 times in a row. A third attempt going to come out from them, and it's Simeon that picks up the pass and secures it finally after multiple attempts, bringing Ec.Lip.Se back into the fold now at 9-9 as we're still neck and neck.
That would have been such a big play, though, if they did get the 3-pointer, because they'd be ahead by 1 point, force the 11.5 to score just to get the lead back for themselves, but more importantly, putting the pressure on them. With only 55 seconds remaining, we've seen possessions last, you know, at least a minute of time over the course of today. So that could have been a lot of time that they whittled away at. But in the meantime, let's see, 11.5. Let's see who's going to quarterback for them here on this attack. And Ec.Lip.Se, are they going to get aggressive and go into a one-on-one man formation, or are they going to keep a man back?
It's looking like Ec.Lip.Se is going to keep number 13, which is Palador. They'll keep him a little bit further back. Problem is, though, is now he's alone. He got sent downfield, so they quickly have to try and put a slingshot together. Both teams are fighting to try and dismantle their opponent's slingshots, and at the end of it, once again, 11.5 gets a good 2-second head start inside of the 3-point bubble and gives them another free goal, so they're going to be able to secure another one. And this time it's a 3-pointer, so they're going to shoot ahead at 12-9, meaning Ec.Lip.Se has to try and repeat that same feat if they want to keep this tied and take it to overtime.
Again, the dog pile that came through. 11.5 was able to get the slingshot out of there quicker, able to get across that map way faster than Ec.Lip.Se could do anything about, and that gave them the score there. That gave the 3-point goal, and it gave them the 3-point lead, most importantly. Ec.Lip.Se, 38 seconds. I didn't think they'd be challenged at all across all of the matches today, but to be fair, 11.5 are really giving it to them. 35 seconds to go. All they have to do is defend for these next 30 seconds, and they're going to have a round on the board for themselves and be one more round away from having a winner bracket advantage in the grand finals.
Going to be an attempt to pass, but as you heard our other announcers say, it's intercepted by 11.5. They're going to be trying to take it downfield themselves here. It's going to basically be bouncing back and forth. As it seems like the main point here now for 11.5 is to play defense, but you can see they're not sending their 2 other guys out. They basically just had a slingshot ready to go in the event Ec.Lip.Se has got the clear away. But look at this. I think it's Loveridge sitting on the back of there. It's causing so much interference right now. And as a result of that, Ec.Lip.Se are only really going to get 1 shot at goal, and it's not even going to be successful because they mess up the pass. So that 11.5 will take control at the end of our first round. 12-9, they'll push ahead now with a 1-0 lead. The possibility to get them into the grand finals is going to be coming up here in the next game.
I honestly didn't expect them to actually be able to take that round. Again, I know it's like kind of ignorant to say, to be fair, but the way Ec.Lip.Se looked earlier on today just looked unstoppable. But looking back, as you mentioned, like the past scores that we did have, for instance, for 11.5 in the first match, it was 21-5. Then in their second match was 28-8. Whereas Ec.Lip.Se, on the other hand, went 23-3 in the first match, but then went 24-15 in their second. So it's tougher for them, looking more mortal. But 11.5 have come out very, very strong.
Yeah, very strong indeed. Really good team dynamics coming out from them, and constantly just winning against the Ec.Lip.Se when it comes down to like a joust race at the end of the rounds too. And we see like we saw that 2 times happen actually, where there was a quick clear to go over to Ec.Lip.Se's side of the arena, and it just came down to whoever the faster slingshot would have secured the goal or successfully blocked it. And pretty much every single time we saw Ec.Lip.Se's opponent manage to get the better of them and secure a goal off of that.
Or the faster fists.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there was like always dog piles are breaking out, and they're able to just quickly get that punch into a throw off, or is even onto an enemy potentially there. You don't know exactly what happens since we're on the disc point of view, but they looked better in the breakaways. 100%.
That's where you got to give credit to Loveridge. He seemed to be the one who was running interference for the most part for those guys. Well, it's time to find out, though, if they can control the second matchup as well. I'm going to clean 2-0, put themselves into the grand finals, or if Ec.Lip.Se still have a little bit of fight left in them to take this over to a third round. Let's find out, as we already have a little bit of a Jules Simeon was able to secure this in the first round, and he does it once again to open up the second round as Ec.Lip.Se get on the board early in the first 10 seconds and secure themselves a 2-pointer.
I like the respect there, too, out of him. Instead of going for the 3-point shot, he wanted to make sure to at least get those 2 on the board, especially 9 seconds in to get that early lead for Ec.Lip.Se, and again, put that pressure back to 11.5. I want to see more of these like skirmish, more of these dog piles come in, because if 11.5 can consistently, because they've already done it twice out of the 2 times we've seen it, if they can continue to do that and always get out ahead with the slingshots and just the better pacing and timings, then that really worries me for a lot of teams out there, because if you have the quote-unquote meta switch over to more of these dog piles, that's going to give them such a big lead and potentially into the world qualifiers.
It's going to be, at the moment, 11.5. Once again, just trying to get these passes off, and they've done it pretty well. Goalie's in position, though. Pallador is ready to defend against this, but it won't matter. We have the sink shot coming in from Pallador right there. It gets it right past the goalie for Ec.Lip.Se and gets the response 2-pointer off for his team.
I'm confused. So how did Pallador score when he's on Ec.Lip.Se and he's on the blue side? So did it bounce off of him or something?
Did it say Pallador scored?
Yeah, it said he scored.
He probably like, Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't even. Was he even
scored against his own?
Was he even there? Like,
I thought he was in the goal. I think his name was like highlighted orange too, so I'm not sure what that was. Maybe it just bounced off of him, or maybe it was just.
It might have. If anything, it bounced off him, but it might have just been a bug.
Might have been. Oh, that's actually a really good play out of Loveridge, but a good clear thing, and not the direction you want to see to be. But
great little juke right there. Whoever managed to steal the disc away real quick and send it back over to blue team's goal hasn't ended up working out too well. What have
there's no one really in range to slingshot back in anymore, and that's going to be Lemming throwing in the distraction towards the backhand side. A great bounce pass off the backboard comes in, and Ec.Lip.Se get a 3-point again.
Simeon having perfect diamond shot right there. Not that he was under a whole lot of pressure, so a straightforward one for him to bank it off the backboard and inside of the goal to keep Ec.Lip.Se in control now at 3. Going in their direction to put them at a 5-2 advantage here. This will send control over to the 11.5 roster as they burst themselves out in a moment here. But Ec.Lip.Se, you can bet they're going to try to get aggressive early on and knock that away from them, just like we had in the last round there.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, 11.5 would be the ones to like throw off these one-on-one man coverage, I guess we can say. Whereas on the other hand, for Ec.Lip.Se, they like just send someone aggressive, Lemming, who goes really deep and then actually sits deep, trying to hope for a pass, for a clear in his direction to go for an easy score. This time he's actually being held up by Das. I still want to say Dash. I don't know why. I
feel like it is Dash.
Dashel?
It might be just.
It's Dashel.
It might be just Dash XL.
Extra large Dash coming in.
Maybe. We need someone to clarify.
But in the meantime, Loveridge does have it out towards the right-hand side. This gets a actually.
Oh, it might still go in. You can
Oh.
see Witt as well. There was like, yeah, like his hands above his head for a second there. But he's going to be able to make sure that goal does get secured. He'll take it from his teammate in the process. But I think he wanted to wait a moment there, see if it kind of floated in on its own, and then
I think it was just barely going out. I think it was just like barely on an off angle, but you can still see like the composure to realize, hey, this could potentially be a 3-pointer. Let's just give it a second.
Pretty much, yeah.
And again, it comes down to communication because he had to have known who was around him. His teammates got to communicate that to him. He's got to keep that head on the swivel, as you mentioned before, to see if anyone's going to be there in time. And Ec.Lip.Se, they do have a lead, but it's not as big as a lead if they were hoping.
About 25% of the way through this second round so far. And once again, 11.5 with the surprise victory showing up here so far. Do have the lead over to Ec.Lip.Se in the series. One more, and they move on into the grand finals and knock Ec.Lip.Se into the lower bracket finals. But if Ec.Lip.Se bounces back, we'll go to a third round to decide this one. It's going to be a little bit of chaos once again at the beginning of this engagement here. Both teams struggling for control of the disc right now. Dash.XL just bouncing around and knocked out 2 players back-to-back here. And now he's going to set himself up for a score. But the problem is he was not available to support Wit. So Wit is going to get punched out before he has an opportunity to pass it.
Yeah, Lemmy gets a great clear there. Gets it back onto their opponent's side of the field. They should have 2 players of Ec.Lip.Se here. If they can just hit him in time or catch the disc, no, that's actually going to work out against them now because now they could potentially be a 2-on-1 against them. They're actually going to get the daisy chain across, the slingshot back into Wit, who does get the clear over to his friend Dash.XL. Potentially going to look for the shot, but doesn't actually retreat away. Does take his time here. Looking for another angle to attack yet from, and Dash is going to come in, but just barely miss him behind. Palador still going to be sitting inside of the goal, though. Meantime, though, 11.5 are still maintaining the actual possession.
That's the main issue with trying to pass for so long is eventually someone's going to mess up their prediction on the angle that you have to throw the disc on, and it's eventually just going to get thrown free. So 11.5, sadly just taking a little bit too much time to actually set up a goal opportunity for themselves, and they end up missing one of their passes and loses it now as Ec.Lip.Se takes back the control. Ec.Lip.Se might lose it here in a moment, though. They do have Lemming on his own. However, number 51 for the orange team, Wit, is going to be under a lot of pressure. Nice little fake goal attempt coming out from our blue team player that tried to secure it, but instead dives onto the goalie, punches him out, and allows for, I think it was Simeon, to secure the goal there.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, what's the goalie going to do if you punch him? There's no need to take that shot. If you're a Lemming there, just pass it off to a teammate, get the punch in, 1-2 punch into another 2 points in the lead. 7-4 now, 3-point advantage for them. Still not really ahead by that much, to be fair.
Yeah, still only, one more goal away from 11.5 being able to bring themselves back into it. I really do appreciate that kind of fake play, though, because not only does it obviously like throw the goalie off a little bit, but it actually pretty much guarantees to get the punch because the goalie's more likely going to be reaching out instead of putting his fist to his head where you have to normally go for the block. Because some goalies are really good at blocking and like almost never end up getting punched out. But that's how obviously he was tricked, so not much in the way that he could do it there.
Ooh, this is actually an easy opportunity for a 3-pointer. As long as you can get the disc, go for the shot. It's actually bought some time for the defense to get back in here. It actually comes in from the high ground. That's going to be another goal coming through, and that's going to be a 3-pointer to allow them to tie things up again. To be fair, it's not a high-scoring game, but both teams are doing a really good job of actually scoring when they do. I mean, look how much time's gone by, and it's 7-7.
It's been a lot more contested in terms of control as well. So it hasn't been like one team constantly has control over the disc and is able to get an easy clear to be able to secure a goal. It's always going back and forth like 2 or 3 times on a volley before I end up seeing someone secure a goal. So this is a very, very even-keeled game, and we've seen examples of that. Last round was pretty much neck and neck all the way to the end of it, and this one's been very similar as we're now tied again with about 2 minutes remaining. It's 7-7. Either team still having the capability to push ahead and take this round, but it's Ec.Lip.Se that need to win it, or they'll be heading down to the lower bracket.
Exactly, and that's where the pressure is really going to lie. Yeah, you're tied up, but knowing that you're 1 round away from being knocked into the lower bracket, we have to play through again. And not only do you have to win that next match, you have to then win 2 best-of-3s against the team that beat you in the grand finals to actually come through as first place. But then again, you get through as top 2 in this tournament, you're through into the world qualifier, but seeding is going to matter so much coming into that.
Absolutely. The attempt from Ec.Lip.Se to go in and clear the disc is not going to end up working out as successfully they would have liked, but thankfully they still got the clear they were looking for. Just took a couple of extra seconds with a slingshot right up towards it, and also a great transition on his movement there to bounce into Lemming instead and try to knock him out. Now it's gone back and forth between both of them. Lemming looks like he's come out of the winner, but it's going to be Simeon that gets the next pickup, and he'll try to go for a long-range clear here too, passing it over to one of his teammates. Palador getting the most recent pickup, and now down the field a little bit more into Lemming. It's a 1v1 to decide it, and Lemming once again outwits the goalie as Wit is unable to stop and successfully defend his goal, so Ec.Lip.Se will take the lead again now at 9-7.
To be fair, I feel like this is very, very similar to football or soccer, depending on where in the world you're from, where if it comes down to a one-on-one of you versus the goalie, you should win a majority of the time in those. And it's kind of unfortunate that's the situation it comes into. It can make yourself look amazing if you're a goalie who does get the block, but if you ever come down to that one-on-one situation, you're the goalie, there's not really a good chance you're really going to get those blocks off. So hopefully, not getting too hard on yourself about that one. And more importantly, if on the other side of that coin, if you're the attacker who misses, then that's just kind of like, well, that should have been 2 points that was on our score.
Pretty much. So now we are going to see Wit actually was trying to sneak in there to steal the disc away, but he gets punched out. So now pressure is going to end up coming onto the goalie once again. Loveridge, great offensive move from him though. It's a little bit risky because it does leave the goal open, but he does successfully punch out the player who is holding the disc. He's able to stun him, quickly retrieve it, and now get a nice clear off. Problem is they don't get a slingshot established that quickly. Also only 20 seconds left, so if Ec.Lip.Se wants to, they can just waste time at this point. That seems to be their intended goal. Got Loveridge moving himself up quickly to get back control, and he's got a nice angle to send it back down, but it bounces off the island. It's going to send it right back into midfield where Ec.Lip.Se is waiting. Palador gets a nice little clear for himself to send it back over to the orange goal. They might actually score again. Yeah, they do with about 2.5 seconds left on the clock. Ec.Lip.Se managed to sneak in another goal and have really secured that lead. Now it's 7-11. So they pretty much have this second round locked down. We'll see those last 2 seconds go off, but I highly doubt that we'll see much from 11.5 in those 2 seconds.
You can't even throw it across the entire arena in those 2 seconds. So that will be a third round going on between these two teams. Good job by Ec.Lip.Se in the very last few seconds to make sure you get those last 2 goals as well to give them that lead and to give them another chance into the third round between these two teams. I mean, technically, with the way they've been playing, if these are our grand finalists, this could technically go the entire series. I think it could go the entire reset and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. So it has gone 7-11, this time into the favor of Ec.Lip.Se, which, as you already mentioned, has tied up the series now at 1-1, taking us to a third and final map to decide who's going to qualify first for the regional finals for this event, but as well might also determine who has a little bit of an advantage going into the grand finals if we end up seeing the repeated series.
And to be honest, if exceeding will matter a ton, because if you're one of the 2 teams that gets through the qualifier, you guarantee yourself a minimum of $500. $7,500.
Yeah, I was gonna say the number just keeps going down.
You get the chance to go to San Jose. That's what you get. The money's not there. As we put it in our pockets.
It's gone missing. We don't know where it went.
We're just gonna show up with bills hanging out of our jackets and everything. No, so yeah, obviously it's very important, and also is important for your morale going into the qualifier, knowing that you're the team to beat from that region. This is the second stage qualifier, so obviously coming through the first, I don't know what teams came through that one, but that kind of is the teams that have like a bullseye on their back now.
All right, guys. Well, we are in the third round. Remember, winner of this one moves on into the grand finals with the series advantage. Loser, well, we might see them come back later in the grand finals, but as well, they are going to have to face off against our team that ends up making it through the gauntlet in the lower bracket before they get a chance at a rematch here in the grand finals. Getting into it, though, it's a nice, quick little slingshot for Ec.Lip.Se, but they missed the disc, so the disc is still kind of flying wildly around the arena right now. Thankfully, 11.5 is basically waiting for them to get aggressive instead of being aggressive themselves, but once again, another clear comes out from 11.5. They send it back down in that direction. Still not really getting that aggressive, though, but it works out because, look, Wit is able to intercept the disc midair right after it was thrown. Nice movement from Simeon, though. A quick push as the goalie. Again, very risky doing that, but it ends up working out as they immediately get back control. They had no one left at the midfield to try and stop the disc from getting cleared, so it goes right back over to 11.5's defensive line.
Just to kind of update you guys on what's going on, well, in the meantime, as Ec.Lip.Se to score, Simeon again in the first score of the round. Metamercs did take the game, 28-8. Against Megatours. So that does mean the loser of this match plays against Metamercs. Technically, it could be a rematch if 11.5 do lose out on this one, or be the first time that Metamercs get to play against Ec.Lip.Se if they're the ones to fall.
Remember, Metamercs were playing pretty good as well in their previous match.
They got smashed by 11.5, 28-8 as well in the second round.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of putting that out there. If it's a rematch, Metamercs have to really show up for that game.
We'll see how that pans out when we do get over to that matchup. But for now, let's focus back on this one with Ec.Lip.Se. Once again, securing themselves the opening shot of the match there.
Hello? Oh, you got to hit those. You got to hit those.
This keeps happening, though, where 11.5 almost get an immediate rescore against Ec.Lip.Se after they get their first one. The good news is, though, Ec.Lip.Se actually got a 3-pointer on the board this time, first off, where I think 11.5 are, for the most part, focusing more so on 2-pointers in this matchup. So,
sound like a radio guy there. That's an 11.5er. Roger that. Over.
Yeah. Roger Dodger.
The thing is, I don't get to cast with Americans often, so it's great to be able to talk about American humor and just have another one who can speak English normally.
Oh, and a nice save, apparently, from one of the members of Ec.Lip.Se as they're going to be able to send it back upfield. Dash is trying to grab it himself here, but he's going to come under immediate interference from Simeon. Sends it right back the other way as 11.5 will re-clear it. It's just bouncing back and forth at this point. Neither team really able to get good control over it. Once again, another steal happens. Here's the problem, though. Simeon was already waiting upfield for this to happen, so he's got open turf. We did see the goalie, Wit, try to send himself back into 11.5's goal in time, but he's way off the mark. So Ec.Lip.Se sink another one and now have a 6-0 lead.
To be fair, I mean, it's really hard to be accurate while throwing the disc, but it's even harder to be accurate when you have to throw in like a split second, you know? And that's what the pressure they're under constantly, of knowing that if I don't clear or don't throw this disc in time, well, hey, I'm gonna get punched and I potentially are gonna give over a goal for that one. So it's really hard to go for those like consistent and good clears when under the pressure these players are under.
11.5. This is the most dominant lead we've seen so far in the series for one of the two teams. So with Ec.Lip.Se well into the lead, we now have to see if 11.5 are going to be able to bring it back. Ec.Lip.Se will come under a little bit of pressure once again, but Palidor gets a nice clear. Problem is Palidor's constantly just dealing with pressure coming in from Loveridge there, as he once again is the main man running interference for 11.5 that allows his teammate to secure a nice three-pointer, and just like that, 11.5 are back in the game.
It's a great job by Loveridge, as you mentioned, the interference, just to kind of hold Palidor up for that shot to go through. And that was a much needed three-pointer too. I mean, 2 points, that's great. You get some points on the board, but to get 3 does at least put some pressure onto Ec.Lip.Se now to be a little bit more careful about how they play their defense. Because it's not the first time that they've actually allowed one player, whether it was Simeon or Lemming, usually Lemming, to play really aggressively and really far in enemy territory to hope for a potential pass to get them an easy score. And to do that, it's so ballsy, it's so cocky, and it's worked out for them in the past. But I think against 11.5, they've been able to punish them more often than not.
Palidor trying to sneak by at this point. It's up to Wit now. He might get a little bit of support from Dash. Dash almost ends up sending it back into his own goal there, as he's a little bit cautious. Palidor now has the control. He's going to have pressure coming out in a moment from Wit, but he gets a clear and a pass out over to Simeon, who's now got control. Simeon just lined up like a turret, ready to send his disc flying, but he doesn't have to panic, clear it backfield over towards Palidor. So they're really trying to get his shot lined up over towards Lemming, but he has a lot of pressure on him too, so it's not so easy to secure that goal. That's why right now I think they're just okay to run down the time a little bit.
Exactly, they're wasting a lot of time, and it's not like, you know, basketball where you only have you have a possession limit, or shot clock, I guess is the best way to say it, if I can use my words correctly. So they can just stall for a long time. It's been, I think, like 30, 45 seconds of time so far on this round. Finally, 11.5 do pick up the possession, do get the clear across the map, but they're not going to be able to get there in time. As already, Simeon's able to, actually, sorry, Palidor's able to get there and secure the disc. He also has 2 defenders, 3 actually against him. And if they can just pick this up and throw it downfield, they're going to be looking good. But unfortunately for them, it gets a bad bounce. And the shot from Town, Loveridge. That could have been so good for Ec.Lip.Se, but the one missed throw allowed Loveridge to get a shot off. Yeah,
Palidor's probably going to be a little upset with the way that ended up panning out, because basically what otherwise would have been a great clear into one of the side tunnels, he ends up shooting it just a little bit too low, banks off the tunnel, and lines up a perfect shot for 11.5. As he was already floating away, assuming this would have gone further downfield. He didn't realize the shot missed.
Yeah.
So that comes right back to haunt him, and it allows 11.5 to secure a second three-pointer to now tie us up. Only a minute and a half left as well, so this could really come down to the next goal or two.
I think this is almost guaranteed to be our grand final. In a rematch, it just comes down to whoever wins this one, if they'll have a lead or not into that one. Lemming does have the disc. She gets stunned up here, but they did get a nice little pass off to Palidor, who's potentially a one-on-one disc for the long-range shot. Unfortunately, a little bit too high and to the right. And that will be Dash.Ec.Lip.Se to pick that one back up and go for a clear himself down through that left-hand tunnel.
Dash counting himself a little bit lucky there that we didn't get to see the mail slot shot go off. Once again, Ec.Lip.Se, great slingshot work, get them back into their own territory relatively quickly to make sure they don't lose possession when it was thrown to their side. Simeon's now going to take the pass. Where is Lemming positioned at? Is he waiting downfield? No, he's not. So they go for a long-range clear. An attempted diamond shot won't connect. Palidor nearly managing to already eliminate the goal. In fact, he has stunned him out. Lemming trying to go for a shot, but it's a little low. Banks off the post instead.
A return's going to come in from Loveridge, who does actually pick the disc back up. He goes for the clear. They got a big skirmish breaking down towards the disc. If they have a 2-on-1, Dash.Ec.Lipse's ahead of him. We just get the pass off, but no. Simeon, he's got the long wingspan to pick up that disc, to throw it back across the field, and potentially get in the hands of Palidor, who actually does not secure it. But it's going to be Lemming, and it's going to be another 3 points on the board. Such a crazy little back and forth between the two teams, but with 19 seconds left to go, Ec.Lip.Se have the lead.
Ec.Lip.Se as well are now only a few seconds away from being able to secure themselves not only an invite to the regional, but also push themselves forward into those grand finals where they will have the series advantage for seeding purposes. They managed to take first place there. Like I said, there are 20 seconds left. We'll have to see what 11.5 can put together, as they are going to start out with possession. Will more than likely become this last opening joust.
100%, and it comes down to how they're going to play this one. I'm imagining that if they ever lose possession of this disc, it's going to be over. It's going to be game over for them. They have to be able to maintain this one, and they have to really read what the defense is doing, and Lemming can be very smart, sits back, Simeon as well. They realize if they play a heavy defensive game, if they just prevent them from scoring, they can have this entire match themselves, but Loveridge comes up the side. Palidor gets a great catch, goes for the clear, and he does it just in time. With 3 seconds remaining, there's no chance for 11.5 to get control back and to score, and Ec.Lip.Se will be your first grand finalist of today.
Would as well, with a bit of frustration at the end there, just chucks it at his own goal. They were so close as well there. Loveridge basically having to go for a panic long-range three-pointer because they needed a three-pointer. They knew they wouldn't have had an opportunity to try to go back at the next round and score a two-pointer for themselves. So we just had to take a risk on a three-pointer right there, and sadly missed it. We had his opponent ready to go in the goal, so he was able to easily block it, send it back downfield, and that secured the round for them. So we do see Ec.Lip.Se, the veterans, moving themselves forward into the grand finals.
All right, so let's take a look at some of those highlights and kind of maybe break down a little bit further of the ups and the lows of how that match did go, because honestly, coming into that match, I thought I had Ec.Lip.Se, hands down. And the way they won that was not close. Or sorry, it was not one-sided at all. It was very close, is what I was trying to say. It wasn't one-sided at all. It wasn't like the Ec.Lip.Se we saw in that first match of the day. To be fair, that's what you would expect. But 11.5 gave them a run for their money. And I still think that the winner of this entire thing is not determined at all.
We're going to take a look again at some of these shots that went off. Specifically, got some good pass work coming out from our guys on the orange team. As Loveridge specifically, we were constantly seeing him on the front foot of this aggressive plays, always running interference that we saw from him too, but just like this, was also oftentimes on the front line, securing these goals when they very much so went dominantly into their control.
Yeah, honestly, really well done by both the two teams. I'm trying to think if I even have like a player from each that just kind of I really like to enjoyed watching, because Loveridge, he ran some really good interference. Witt had a couple of good moments as well in the earlier matches of the series. Simeon had some great shots, like time and time again. He was scoring the first goal for both the teams. But I feel like almost Lemmy, I like and I hate the way he plays sometimes, with how he can sit back in the enemy team's side of the field, because it's such a disrespectful thing. But at the same time, it shows his confidence in his teammates to be able to get the disc and stop it from being scored and get an easy pass to him for a goal. It's like a love and hate thing. It's like a hate because of how it works, because it shouldn't work when you have a 3-on-2 against your team. But because of Simeon and Palador, they're able to play that well that they can handle the 3-on-2 situation.
And that will conclude that, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, big congratulations to Ec.Lip.Se, who started out the series actually with a little bit of a bumpy road there, a lot of back and forth going between the two teams throughout the course of the first 2 rounds. The third round, though, especially towards the end of it, we do see them finally taking solid control and are able to secure themselves the 2-1 victory, pushing them onwards to the grand finals, meaning we now have to see another rematch down in the lower bracket to see if we're going to get 11.5 back in for the grand finals as well. They still have to take down an opponent, which they before easily took down, but we could have seen some evolution for that team since then as they've made their way all the way through the lower bracket.
So the pressure's on. Metamercs, can you guys come back? Can you take the victory against the team who knocked you into the lower bracket, or will you fall short just in time for the World Qualifier? The winner of this one will go through to play in the Grand Final, but most important, the winner of this one will go on through to play in the World Qualifier coming up in September. We'll head to a short break. When we come back, that match will be underway.